You have Arch Manning at number 3. I have Arch Manning at number 2. Why do you think Arch Manning sucks as a quarterback, Joe?
Oh, all right. Stop it. Hot take. Arch Manning will finish this year as the top quarterback in the conference and as a top 3 quarterback in the country. I just think it would be asinine to put him at number 1 on a list when he has never played. I think that would be a little bit too bullish to do in the middle of March. Like, that would be freaking crazy. But God, if he lives up to the hype, which those couple spurts that we've seen, even when they've brought him in to do the Wildcat crap, which was kind of weird, he checks every box. Like, the craziest part about him is learning that he's a freakish athlete, knowing that his 2 uncles were slow as shit, knowing that he can fly and he can pick up speed. He could be a great decision maker, a great player on the move, a threat on the ground, and a consistently accurate, tactile player at quarterback. If he checks all those boxes and he plays to our expectations, I really think he's going to be the number 1 guy. And he has the major benefit of playing on a team and getting to sit for 2 years and getting to be around quality winning football and being around an elite decision maker on offense in Steve Sarkisian. All this stuff is setting up Arch to be as good as we believe he can be.
All right. Let's get with Arch. What was the conversation that you and I had 2 years ago on him? What was legit? When he was coming out and went to Texas, everybody called him what? A day 1 starter.
Which I didn't agree with.
Which I know that you didn't, but it was the narrative that we were fighting. He had to get bigger. He had to get stronger. He had to mature. It's time now. I think the legacy is going to hit here. I think the legacy of the Manning name will hit here. The thing that I worry about with him, okay, he is a first-time starter. I don't know. I do see a scenario where he's not the top quarterback in the SEC next year. Here's why. Joe, first-time starting is first-time starting. I don't give a shit if his last name is Manning or what it is. There are going to be humps and bruises. By the way, he goes to Athens early in the season. That's going to be a tough situation for him. How does he respond? Does he come out there glowing? Then we have a different conversation. That's a conversation piece that we have to have. I do think that he is the best thing that could happen to Texas football now that Quinn Ewers is gone, though, because I felt like there was a team that was behind Arch Manning, and they knew that he would ultimately be the better quarterback than Quinn Ewers. It's how I always felt. He had a really good season, though, even when he had to come in. That's the thing, is that you've seen the flashes of what he can do, even against bad opponents. That's the part for me with Arch, that when we look at him, he does have the athleticism. He can make all the throws. The question will be, from a young quarterback for this season, how is it for a first-time quarterback, himself included, when he has to make the right decisions? Listen, I was listening to Cooper a month ago. He's like, guys, he's going to have a 2-interception game in his career. That's how he started his career off. Against ULM, I might add. Joe, he's going to have those mistakes again. So does that manifest? Which games does that manifest itself in? Listen, I think he's going to be on this list of all the guys we'll talk about today. I think he will be the best quarterback for our lifetime. Meaning, like, of all these guys' playing careers, I think that he will ultimately be the best. We're talking about 1 year, okay? He's going to have growing pains. Doesn't mean that he won't lead him to a playoff. Doesn't mean he can't lead him to Atlanta. I do think that one thing that separates him more than all the other guys on this list, he does everything well, right? Like, he can do everything that you need him to do. That's the point. He's not like unpolished as a passer. He's not unpolished athletically. He can make the plays. That's the thing for me that I think separates him from everybody else.
Well, so one, I understand that bringing up, like, hey, this is a guy who was a first-time starter. Like, we need to kind of calm ourselves a little bit. Very rarely do these guys get to sit for multiple seasons and then also be a part of teams that go on national championship runs or college football playoff runs and to reach college football playoff, and getting to be around that and knowing how to take that next step. So I think that that's certainly an advantage that he has that is typically not given to a first-time starter.
Can I pause you very quickly? Can I ask you this question? Can I ask you this question then? But we did already see that with ULM. Like,
Well, so what's your point? Like,
okay, well, he sat for 20 games before he got his first start, and then he came out there and he threw 2 picks. That's already happened, though.
Yeah, but that's part of I would argue that's part of to his benefit that he's actually seen game action and that he's
had
to start and been able to start. So he knows what it's like. He knows how to perform. He also started against Mississippi State, which was another good opportunity for him. A bad team, but a good opportunity for him.
He didn't have an SEC win.
But I think that, to your point, though, I think that Arch Manning is going to be one of the most balanced quarterbacks in the country this year.
No doubt.
He does everything at a B+ or higher level enough to be impactful. And that is why I think he ends up being the most dynamic. And just to round it out, though, he has the best situation out of any quarterback in the country. A great defense with crazy athletes and an offense with multiple quality receivers and an offensive line that's putting a couple guys out into the NFL, but is well recruited, and they should be fine with a good offensive coordinator.
And a bona fide 5-star receiver who just had LASIK this weekend because he couldn't see.
I wonder if he's gonna. I wonder how much better he's gonna get.
Well, Dwayne. So here's an interesting story for you. Dwayne Bowe. Do you remember Dwayne Bowe played for Kansas City?
Yeah.
You know that he led the country in drops 2 years in a row at LSU, twice. He had LASIK surgery and he did not have a drop his last season at LSU. Like, I remember
so you're
that.
Saying he's Dwayne Bowe now.
No, I'm just saying, like, dude, the dude became a 5-star and he couldn't see.
I forgot Dwayne Bowe played at LSU. I don't know why it didn't register for me.
Probably one of my favorite players of all time. All right, in reference to Arch, I do think what does concern me, okay, he's got an offensive line that's got to be reshaped here a little bit. Here's my biggest thing with him that also doesn't go to him. Joe, they couldn't run the football last year. They could not run. Now, he can help in that, and he can create on his own, right? Like, he can do that for himself.
But they're getting guys back next year. Like, they're bringing back Trey Wisner, and then they get Cedric Baxter or CJ Baxter back on the field.
I got to be honest with you. CJ Baxter ain't fixing what happened against Georgia.
I think he does. I think he's a really good running back. I think he absolutely
Joe,
does.
when that O-line getting them cheeks clapped like that, ain't nobody fixing that now.
They didn't have 6'1", 220, man. They didn't have the battering ram that,
Joe, when
Cedric
your
Baxter's
O-line is bad, it doesn't matter who's at running back.
Cedric Baxter is going to be the truth this upcoming year.
Okay.
I'm telling you.
Okay. And when the O-lines don't perform, running backs don't do shit. That is a fact.
Well, they're getting rid of Cameron Williams was one of the most overrated offensive linemen last year, by the way. Like, he's gone. Apparently, he wasn't super high effort from what
Kelvin Banks.
Kelvin Banks is gone, who was a good player, but he was banged up. I don't know.
I disagree with that.
You don't think Kelvin Banks was good? I thought Kelvin Banks is a tremendous film, but he got hurt. He was banged up. He was playing hurt.
Joe, everybody's playing banged up on the offensive line.
Yeah, but there's to different degrees though. Like he had a serious injury. I'm forgetting what exactly it was, but he was out for games.
They're comparing CJ Baxter to Saquon Barkley in the chat. We gonna act like that Philly doesn't have a good O-line? Are we actually gonna go there?
Well, but when he was on the Giants had a shit offensive line. And he still was productive.
But he wasn't the productive. He didn't have the production that he had this year, though.
But he still made that offensive line look better than it was. Can we talk about DJ